Entries start from just £2 or post your name and number to GB09 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 22nd of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
The latest Channel 4 Dispatches documentary has revealed details about the royal family's finances, including reports that private royal estates have received millions of pounds of income from public bodies and charities.
Morning, and morning, Stephen. Absolutely, I'm not shocked either. And also, as a former butler, I was also a duchy rentee. I used to rent one of the properties, and we were always aware of the property portfolio. I don't think it's kind of a bit news thing. Obviously, part of the, if you like, the business side is these two duchies, Cornwall and Lancaster, and the late Queen obviously was the Duke as well of Lancaster, and now you've got the Prince was obviously, or the King, when he was Prince, had the duchy. And these properties, portfolios as well, I mean, obviously they make money. I mean, but they've been around for, I think they go back to George III, if not before.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out why women in jail is soon to only exist on search histories, what's stopping Sydney Sweeney from being empowered, also in my search history, and the Christmas tree that's good for the environment but will make you cry. I'm Josh Howie, and tonight's comedians are Lewis Schaefer and Nick Dixon. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Sophia Wensler.
Good evening. These are your headlines at 11 o'clock. The woman found dead in a car boot in East London has been named as 24-year-old Corby resident Harshita Brella. She was reported missing by authorities after Northamptonshire police conducted a welfare check at her home in Skegness Walk and got no answer. Detectives said a murder inquiry has now been launched into the suspicious discovery in Ilford. No arrests have yet been made, but the police have said that they believe Harshita was attacked by someone known to her, although they are keeping an open mind. Lord Blunkett is calling for action on what he says are death trap tube platforms after he was injured falling into the gap at Westminster Station. Writing in The Sun on Sunday, Lord Blunkett said he had been getting on the District Line train with his guide dog at Westminster Underground Station when his feet slipped. The blind former Home Secretary required hospital treatment after last month's incident. The Labour peer has called on Transport for London to do more to keep visually impaired people safe. Kemi Badenoch has said hate crime laws must be reviewed to protect free speech after police launched an investigation into a journalist over a tweet. In an interview with the Telegraph newspaper, the Conservative leader said it was absolutely wrong for the police to visit any journalist's home simply because they had expressed an opinion. Alison Pearson is under investigation by Essex Police for allegedly stirring up racial hatred with a social media post made in November of last year. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Boris Johnson compared police action to that of the Soviet Union in the last century. Plans to force a referendum over the handover of the Chagos Islands could delay the treaty from taking effect until after US President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Lord Bellingham is leading a group of peers who plan to introduce an amendment to the treaty when it reaches the House of Lords to require a vote of Chagosians to approve it. US President Joe Biden's administration agreed the deal with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer's government, but Mr Trump's team is reportedly opposed to it and could look for a way to scrap it. Sir Keir Starmer has said he will defend the decisions made in the budget all day long amid anger from farmers over inheritance tax changes. The Prime Minister made the comments at his first speech as Prime Minister at the Welsh Labour conference in Llandudno. Meanwhile, farmers descended on the conference in protest over changes to inheritance tax. In changes announced in the budget, farmers who pass on their land will have to pay a 20% tax on assets worth more than £1 million. The Prime Minister defended proposals, saying the government needs to keep explaining how it will work. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Headliners, your first look at Sunday's top stories with three comedians. Let's have a little teaser at what Lewis and Nick will have to deal with on Sunday's front pages. The Mail on Sunday. Call that net zero, Sakir? Observer, fears grow over children at risk placed in illegal care homes. Sunday Express. OAPs will die as big freeze hits. The Sunday Times. Labour plans Maloney-style migrant deals. Sunday Mirror. 1 billion boost for buses. And the Daily Star Sunday. I'm afraid you have a serious case of bog bum, Mr. Jones. Lots of news. Lewis, we are going to start with the Sunday Telegraph.
Yes, Sunday Telegraph. Good news. £3.50, Josh. And it's
a bargain.
It's a bargain. I think you know what? It's the newspaper that I used to read a lot when I didn't know anything about newspapers. And I thought it was like the New York Times. I just thought. And then I realized the New York Times was worthless. But this is it. You know, one thing about these papers is there's not one news thing in all the papers. It's like every newspaper has a million different things.
I should just, for reference, just point this out to the readers at home. There's lots of news. I just want to be very clear about that. There's a huge amount of news. Do you want
Did I say that? I didn't say that. I say that every newspaper has a different news story that they decide to put on their front.
What has the Sunday Telegraph got?
It has this. I too had a visit from police over tweet, says writer. The writer is Julie Bindel, and she's quite famous. I've heard of her. I don't know what she writes for. Nick, I know, would know something about it because he knows everything. Is that he knows everything.
That's
he
true.
does.
That's true.
He does. He's got a very high IQ, and which is high considering he's not a Jew. But
this isn't going out. Don't worry. This is a rehearsal.
What are we in?
Yeah.
We're 6 minutes into the show. We have not covered any of the news.
And there
We
are so
don't
many
have
big
to.
stories. That's incredible.
we covered the news.
So
It's
many news
£3.50, basically saying some dude.
£3.50 that's the price of the news.
That is the price of the news.
When we give you the newspapers, you just don't get any further than the price.
I have a feeling like half the people who watch us are going to go £3.50. That's not very much, and the other half is going
But
to
the
go.
other half might want to know
You're like
what's
someone who's
on
on
the
an
front page.
LSD trip, just focused,
You
zeroing
know
in.
what it is? I can't
Or
deal with
extreme
Josh and
autism.
his hair. He like scares me.
Yeah, it's
He
lack
was-
carb.
Yeah, something. Yeah, lack carbs actually cause hair loss. Anyway, so some transgender guy from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
The Netherlands, not even in England,
That's where they
calls up
live.
the police to make a complaint. It's like, so the police go and say, hey, did you do something that was offensive? That's what this country's become. It's the laughing stock of America, Britain, from what I could tell.
Yeah, Nick, this is huge. I mean, Julie Bindel, she's is it a good thing that these people with profile are coming forward as well?
Yeah, it is. And what's shocking is how many of these there are. But what's interesting is if you compare it to the Soviet Union or East Germany, people said no one knew how bad it was. And when they could come together, that's when it ended. What's different in our regime, it's very oppressive, but people know it gets out there, but people are still afraid and they're not organised. So, but I'm hoping that if this keeps happening, we reach a tipping point where this kind of thing stops. That's my hope.
That's a very interesting thought. It's one of those. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that Britain is lost in what do they call that when people can't do anything when they're just like
Inertia.
Inertia, very good word. I think this is English, and you know what? It's like, and there's.
Okay, Nick, there's another story here,
Yeah.
pretty big, really.
Yeah.
Could be the end of the war in Ukraine.
Well, there's two massive stories, but I'll do that one. Yeah, Zelensky, Trump will hasten end of war. So Zelensky's rhetoric has sort of inevitably changed. Before he was saying, never die, never give in. Now he's basically saying, give in next year sometime. Because he has to, because, that's what Trump wants. And the question is, how's it going to happen? And it gets a bit detailed, but basically the UK are going to have to end up manning the DMZ, or that's what America want. And so Yeah, the question is, some are worried that Trump will too hastily push for a ceasefire, but it seems to me that suddenly Zelensky is open to it. He says we have to understand what the Russians want, which is not the kind of thing he was saying before. The big obstacle to me is Putin, because now that he's done all this, and Trump doesn't have the deterrent factor because he's already gone in. Much easier to say, if you go in, I'll bomb Moscow. Much harder once you've already done it to say, well, I might still bomb Moscow. It just sounds less convincing. That'll be the hard thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, the rhetoric has changed. What do you think is going to make Putin happy? One of the deals they're saying here is that they will give lots of weapons, America will give lots of weapons to Ukraine if they say they won't join NATO for at least 20 years.
Yes, but the other thing Putin's going to want, the problem is, he's going to want to keep the parts that he's occupying in a permanent fashion.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis, we wouldn't in the UK, when I say we wouldn't just allow 20% of our country to just go, unless it was Wales, of course.
I think we would under a Labour administration. Of course, they would let 20% go.
They're giving away islands for no reason.
Yeah, that whole country is going. This is a weird thing that he said. He basically said that the war is going to end sooner under Trump, which is such a disrespect to the people who've given him billions of dollars, the Biden administration and the Harris. So he's basically...
But he's just admitting reality, isn't it? Because Trump's going to want to end it. So
yeah, but he doesn't have to say, oh, it's going to be done sooner. He could say, I hope Trump finds a way. We will do everything.
We have got so much news to get through. Nick, do you want to quickly mention this other Telegraph
very quickly, just assisted dying legislation, a step towards non-voluntary euthanasia. And this is significant because it's Thomas Teague, KC, and he was, it's very small, right, but he was Chief Coroner of England and Wales from 2020 to 2024. And he's pointing out something really important that I've talked about, that there's no rational foundation for these safeguards. So he's saying that these safeguards that people talk about with the assisted dying won't hold because there's no reason for them. They're just arbitrary. And just like Canada, he doesn't necessarily say Canada.
But I mean, it felt like, to me, what he was saying was that the similar language, but essentially they're talking about there being foundations in the bill, but actually there's nothing in law that would prevent this stuff, and that's the danger of it. Like, the legislation has been done very badly and sloppily.
Yeah, but he also says there's no rational foundation, so he's just saying logically this will fall apart. So you'll end up with voluntary euthanasia, then non-voluntary euthanasia. And that's the very dark.
I think we should bring it in, try it on Lewis, and then see how it goes from there.
Well, exactly. What is a non-voluntary euthanasia? It's murder. It's murder. But this is the thing about English people. I love this country. But I mean, why can't you just say, why couldn't the guy say, we're afraid it's going to be murder?
Because he's a medical professional, not an insane comedian banging a table on TV.
You know what? Somebody needs to bang the table. Somebody needs to hit these people on the head.
I just like the way that you're saying it's murder.
It is murder.
Let's go on to the Sunday Times, Nick.
I've been to speech therapy, too, in America. Sorry.
So the Sunday Times has... What is the price? Oh, it doesn't matter at all, that's right. The Sunday Times has Labour plans Maloney-style migrant deals. So it's quite funny in a way because, you know, Maloney's far right and then Labour's like, let's do exactly what she does. And the basic principle is let's give them loads of money to try and stop the migrants ever setting off. This is the theory. And they're going to get involved with Kurdistan, which is a real place, Turkey, Vietnam... And they're just copying Italy, who have done this with Tunisia and Libya. And, of course, it's been criticised by humanitarian groups.
Except it did work, though, didn't it? Dropped about 60%. When Italy did it, it worked.
Let's try it. If we can't do it with the Navy, if we can't do it in a sort of sensible way, let's do it by just wasting loads of money.
Yeah, I love the way he says that, in a sensible way. This is ridiculous. You know, what this is like back in the day when the barbarians were invading the gate, and you throw them money to say, hey, can you go away for a little bit?
I know.
And that's what this is. It's basically paying our enemies not to invade us.
Yeah, but if it actually saves us money in the long run, let's just do it.
No, it won't save the money, because at the end of the day, they're going to say, well, let's keep on going.
Well, like I said, but it has worked in Italy. Right, Observer, Lewis.
That's only 60%. That's not enough of a savings.
I'll take 60%. Observer, Lewis.
Britain must choose trade with the EU over Trump, which is like, yeah. Because basically they hate Donald Trump. What are they supposed to say?
Great insight, Lewis.
What's hilarious about this story? What's so funny is we did the story last night of Stephen Moore saying the UK must choose America. Now they've just found a different guy, the Observer, Pascal Lamy, who's gone, they must choose the EU, so it's the opposite take, obviously.
The truth is the EU, SUCK. Am I allowed to spell that word out?
No.
It's bad. And everybody in this country knows, or at least all of our viewers know, and I hope they judge me nicely because I said.
Well, it's interesting that you went to that story over the fears grow over children at risk story. That was like I'm going to go to this little story in the corner, but forget the children at risk.
Well, my house is basically an illegal care home right now.
That's why he passed.
So, Nick, what do you think about this? It's quite shocking, isn't it?
Shocking. Shocking, though not shocking, because we live in a sort of collapsing country, obviously. But fears grow over children at risk placed in illegal care homes. So it's just incredible the number of children who are sort of in these horrible positions. And it included a young woman who was physically sat on for an entire day. Imagine that, Liz, or recall that.
Well, I've been sat on by a woman for an entire day.
That's why I said just recall it. It's a terrible thing. Yeah, all these shocking things. A severely disabled child whose feeding tubes have been nibbled by rats. So this is just...
That's horrible.
It's horrific stuff.
It's horrible. And, I mean, making them these illegal care homes, they're private, they're making huge profits. The system is broken, and it's one of the other many things that has been broken under the Tories and needs to be fixed by Labour. Will it?
No, I think you're right, Josh. The problem is there is a system. Everything is the state here. Everything is centralised. Everything is the big government. Everything is the left. And we need to stop that stuff.
I actually agree with what Lewis said.
Well,
he agrees.
Terrifying. Right, let's go to the Mail on Sunday then.
Yeah, so they have a call that net zero, Sir Keir, with some irony, because Keir's sent 470 delegates to the rather pointless COP29 summit. I'm saying it's pointless because then it's not COP27 in the good old days. People are saying there's no point having these anymore. But he sent 470 people.
I was a fan of COP6.
Yeah. That
was the good old days.
That was the early EPs of COP. But now it's just who cares anymore. Yeah. And it's the usual story, Labour hypocrisy. I mean, we have a Labour hypocrisy story every day because there are so many. You know, it's obviously it's bad for the environment to send off.
Yeah.
Go on Zoom and chat about the climate. You don't need to send 470 people off to wherever the heck it is.
If you believe in the climate.
Azerbaijan, that's mental.
Yeah. Well, why is it mental?
Because so far, just do it on Zoom.
You know, I don't like to interrupt Lewis, but we actually have some breaking news, I'm afraid, that we are going to have to cover now.
Yeah.
We have The Sun on Sunday just come in. Headline, take off Donald Trump, looking at Tory plans to send illegal migrants to Rwanda after deterred scheme was ditched by Keir Starmer. Donald Trump's team is looking at plans to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda. Everybody's trying to get in on this action now.
Yeah.
We were trendsetters.
How much does the Sun cost is what I want to know. Yeah, I know. It's hilarious, isn't it? I mean, people said it couldn't be done, and multiple people have tried to do it, haven't they? Didn't we do another story a while ago that someone else was trying to do Rwanda? Yeah. Someone else was looking at it, and now the US is looking at it. Why couldn't we do it?
Well, we know why we couldn't do it. But the interesting thing is that the reasons that we were told, the ECHR, is now hobbling Maloney's stuff about trying to send everybody to Albania.
So if Trump can do it, it will prove that it is the ECHR that stops it. Plus, lacking Trump's out of the deal instinct.
Well, knowing the ECHR overreach, they will probably try and stop it for Trump as well.
That's true.
Well, also, you have to remember that America has a lot more money, and I think Rwanda wants some of that money. And maybe they're like us in Britain. We don't like our residents here, so let's replace our residents with foreigners. And maybe that's what... Don't shake your head, John.
No, I'm just thinking that Rwanda have just got the perfect scheme here. They're just raking it in.
Yeah, no, it's gone there.
They'll become so rich, they'll become first world and start sending their people to us.
Yeah.
Right? Because they've made so much money off the Rwanda scheme.
It's like an illegal real estate guy, like renting the same apartment dozens of times and no one moves in.
Right.
They've collected...
Does Rwanda exist? Do we know that it actually exists? Has anyone seen it?
I saw it on the map. It's right below Uganda.
Okay.
It doesn't have any...
It's not real.
Very quickly, let's finish on the Daily Star, Nick. Or Daily Star on Sunday, I should say.
Oh, OK, yeah. Cool. I was going to go with the Express. I wanted to do proper news, but you want to do... I'm afraid you have a serious case of bog bum, Mr. Jones.
It's only because it's a very personal story to me.
Yeah, OK. Well, it's about... You're looking at your phone, so you're sitting on the loo for so long. You're watching Lord of the Rings, all three, and you go...
For me, it's just I'm arguing with Corbynites.
Right, you're arguing with Corbynites on the loo. You suddenly realise you can't walk.
Why? Because you've got... What does it mean?
You've got bog bum.
You got
bog bum, hemorrhoids.
I don't know what that's called, but that's hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids, yeah.
Yeah, no, if people are seeing how gingerly I'm sitting.
But if you want to get rid of your hemorrhoids, go on a low-carb diet.
There it is.
Thank you so much. We got it in there.
Yeah.
OK, up next, we'll be getting Zelensky's take on Trump's presidency. Welsh farmers flush out a rat, and women's prisons are changing. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Love a bit of baking and share some hot tips. We're delighted to be joined by our baking extraordinaire, Matty Edgell, who won Great British Bake Off last year. Woo! Welcome. Congratulations as well. I'm sure you're sick of being congratulated.
And there's a nice reminder.
No, you like all the glory.
Yeah.
What was it like winning the Great British Bake Off? What's last year been like for you?
Winning it was I was not expecting to win. At any point until they said my name.
You're a very humble guy.
Surprise. No, I was
really
in touch with reality. I wasn't.
Was it quite a close race throughout then?
Yeah, I considered myself the underdog throughout. I think the first week I turned around after the showstopper and kind of saw how good everyone was, and then looked at mine and thought, how have I got here? And that kind of theme followed through.
But then that surely like an underdog.
Yeah, it did.
Actually, I'm going to get better throughout this.
Yeah, I think it made me kind of like really tune into the feedback that they was giving me and trying to embed that throughout. So that's probably why.
Could you feel yourself improving as the series went on?
Definitely, and I think also like kind of simultaneously my confidence improved at the same time, and then that like little bit of belief in myself probably helped out as well.
What was your strength? Biscuits, cake, bread?
I think cake's my strength.
Cake.
I think cake, typically if you start baking, that's probably where you start, isn't it? So that was what I knew most.
How did you start baking?
I've been asked this so many times since...
You don't know?
I attribute it to my nan.
Sweet.
But, yeah, I would say... I think most people probably attribute it to, like, a grandparent or something that they maybe done with, like, their parents when they was growing up. So that's... I'll give it to my nan.
Or the major lockdown baking boom.
Yeah, banana bread.
Everybody... All over the place, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. I love a banana bread, even now.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect. And then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Josh Howie, still joined by Lewis Schaefer and Nick Dixon. Independent now, Nick, and who was told to get off my land, but in a Welsh accent?
Yeah, well, it's Starmer. Starmer fled like a rat as angry farmers besiege Welsh Labour conference. Not just a rat, but a flipping rat. He said he was running out the door like a flipping rat. Exactly. And people are calling it disrespectful. Now, a Labour source has said it's just his car was out the back there, whereas his car was parked. So of course
out the back.
Yeah. Of course he didn't flee the throng of angry farmers with pitchforks.
He's not a wimp. He's brave.
With literal rakes and pitchforks. And of course, the farmers are against Starmer. I've said before, it's farmers versus Starmers. This is the UK now. Farmers are tied to the land. They live on the same land for generations. They're inherently, that you could call them de facto nationalists, versus the anywhere man, the Davos man of Labour, the atomised man who's more of a globalist, doesn't care about the nation. They're bound to be at odds. And isn't it interesting? The farmers are thinking about striking. Who went on strike under the Tories? Of course, the NHS, teachers and so on. And now under Labour, the farmers go on strike because those are the people that Labour...
When do we get to go on strike?
It's a great question. If you're sort of in showbiz or self-employed, never, ever, because there's too many people just wanting to steal your job.
Yeah. Well, what are you looking at me? Here is the point. The point is this, is that's how politics work. Politics work is you take money from the people who didn't vote for you and give them to the people who did vote for you. And this is, and what is this about? This is like what the left does. The left are, I mean, I don't want to call them murderers because that sounds too direct, but they're involved.
And you get sued probably by someone.
Yeah, would I get sued?
I don't know, and only if you name people. Could you name some people and call them murderers?
I think anybody who wants... Basically, by not giving them £300, some people will die according to their own statistics.
When they were in opposition.
Yeah. And who are these people? Who are farmers? Are there many black farmers? Are there Indian farmers? There aren't that many. They're mostly white guys. That's number one. Number two is they want to...
I don't know where the ethnicity's coming in here, but...
Well, even Clarkson said that. He said that the Labour were ethnically cleansing the countryside of farmers.
Yes,
it is. They're replacing them with other ethnic ethnicity.
No, it's not. It's by huge multi-corporations. It could be owned by anybody, including Indians, Africans, Algeria, whoever.
They want to get rid of small farms full stop, don't they? One of that former Labour advisor let slip, didn't he? He's like, we don't need small farms. He even said it on telly.
And what's going to happen? People will die. There will be no food.
Him saying it isn't necessarily proof that it's government policy or whatever like that. A few things here. Number one is I like how the farmer Gareth Wyn-Jones, he said Starmer's gone back to his London hideout, which is just his house.
Yeah.
it's like the whole of London is Starmer's. Who knows where Starmer is? He could be anywhere in London.
Well, you're saying that your home isn't your hideout?
Well, isn't his hideout Lord Ali's flat? Didn't we establish?
Well, that's very good. Yeah. But the real thing here is that there's a massive discrepancy between how many people this is going to affect. Whitehall is saying it's going to be 28%, and Rural Affairs figures saying it could be as high as 66% of farmers. So that seems to be part of the issue here. Also, Labour would say that they're doing it because there's a loophole where rich people can buy land, say they're farmers, and use that to not have to pay an inheritance
Because they
tax.
want people to farm, because it's such a horrible job to be out in the countryside. You're not in Nunhead like I am. The truth is that all of this, all taxation is theft. And that's what Labour is doing, is just stealing stuff. They're stealing it. They're going to be killing people who are working
all right,
there.
Then, let's move on now.
They're going to cut off our food supply.
More
which needs to be
news
protected.
from Wales. You can go crazy on this one, Lewis. More news from Wales. Please don't tweet me that Lewis is right.
Yeah.
I just can't be bothered. Sunday Telegraph, Lewis, and that, oh gosh, yes. What has caused the cursed white majority been up to now?
The cursed white majority is Labour is going anti-racist action plan to build inclusive society for our black, Asian, and minority ethnic people. The problem is that the Welsh people, lovely Welsh people, nice, lovely, at least to me, great people, at least to me, they've been totally marginalised by the Anglo-Saxons, Picts, Jutes.
Oh, here we go. Not this again.
Yes, they've been So here you're going into this country, Wales, which used to own the entire country. They're the Palestinians of Britain. Basically, they used to own the entire country, and you're telling them we're going to give your home because your skin is white, when they don't even think of
the Palestinians. They immigrated in the last 100 years, did they?
No, that the Palestinians.
No, he means that you want to bomb them.
Well, we got to do something.
They have our hostages, Lewis.
Is that the Welsh people were forced to live there in the rockiest, horrible bit of Britain?
It's beautiful.
It's a point. I don't think that's the main point.
No.
Isn't the main point a general attack on white people? I mean, they want to change the beliefs and behaviour of the white majority. I mean, that is shocking. That is a kind of cultural... I don't want to say cultural genocide, it's the kind of thing you would say, but it's an unbelievable thing to do. It's an unbelievable social experiment. A government is trying to wipe out a people's entire sense of self.
The majority of the country.
OK, wow.
You're
a real
No,
table
you're
banger.
totally right. Somebody has to speak for the Welsh people. The Welsh people don't even think of themselves as white,
I say if they are or not, I say it's disgusting, but it's a sick experiment. I mean, why? What right do they have to say these people?
There's a chilling phrase in here. Options for mandatory training. Have you ever heard of that? Options for an induction for new recruits. This is going to be across all departments.
I'm just going to get across how bad it is. It's kind of like a government eugenics program. It's not actually killing the people, but it's like we want to wipe out these people, their sense of self.
Their sense of self. Yeah, that's why this country needs a Donald Trump to stop this thing. This is horrific for the Welsh people who deserve our support.
Nick, the Sunday Telegraph has sad news for those hoping for a British remake of Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, I just realised Lewis encourages me to go even crazy. Calm down.
Together.
So, Prisons Minister opens door to allowing female criminals to avoid jail. Thanks, Lewis. This is Lord Timpson. Claims there's a lot to learn from the Spanish scheme for some reason. And he's saying that to reduce the number of women behind bars, there should be electronic monitoring, which is called semi-freedom, which is probably more than we have in the UK right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Starmer's more of a quarter freedom. Like semi-freedom is
Can I just say what they're doing? They're electronically monitoring us, everybody in the country. We're all basically monitored by
that chip
Twitter.
in your head?
No, on Twitter, on Facebook, anything that we say.
But I was going to say, Lewis, don't we already have electronic monitoring? Aren't they called angle tags?
Yes.
Yeah, we
so
do
what's the
have
difference?
that.
Why is he going? Is this story he just wants to go to Spain? Because that's what he's basically saying here. He's got this official trip and he just wants a holiday. Next time he's going to check out this new thing called tagging in Barbados.
Find out where he's got a house, because he's one of these guys. He's like a lower
Lord Ali.
Yeah.
Satire, don't sue us. But I like Gemmitt's comment, Robert Gemmitt. Labour can barely disguise their ideological desire to let criminals out early. That's what they love doing. We saw them popping champagne
But he was more talking about letting out the criminals from before. What do we think about
but this is a way of
letting women out, and then they could put all the trans people in the female jails?
No, but then that would be what do you call it? That would be
trans criminals, by the way, not trans people. I should point that out before.
That wouldn't be fair to the trans criminals, because there'd be too. You know what I mean? There'd be too many.
Because some of them are picked.
So really, well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? If women don't have to go to jail, trans women, does that mean trans women have to go to jail?
That's a good question. So you got all the women out, or just with tags roaming around electronically,
and all the trans
with semi-freedom, and the trans women are in the former women's jail. There's like 6 of them.
Or they should be let out because trans women are women. And they should not.
And you know what? Women are incapable of actually hurting somebody, which is worthy of them being imprisoned.
You know what?
Well, emotionally.
Fair, the term semi-freedom would be an upgrade for women in many parts of the world, wouldn't it? That's a useful comment. That's like an anti-oppression of women comment. Why have a look at me?
It just blew our minds what you said.
No, I didn't know what he meant. I know what you mean. You mean like in Afghanistan?
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, much more still to come. Police protecting free speech, a non-hate, non-crime incident, and is Hollywood really progressive? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. So the north-south split across the UK continues, with some cloudier skies and some patchy rain in the south, but some colder and wintry weather further north. We do have a weather front situated across the southern half of the UK. It continues to sink its way southwards through the rest of the day today, but those northerly winds bring us some colder conditions across parts of Scotland. We'll continue to see showers across the north and the west, and these likely to turn to snow and sleet over any high ground. Further south, though, that weather front continues to push its way southwards, leaving some clear skies to start the morning on Sunday across much of England and Wales, and quite widely a chilly start to the day on Sunday, temperatures widely in the low single figures, and some frost likely across parts of Scotland and northern England to start the day. Further south, though, generally quite a dry and bright start to the day once that weather front clears its way southwards. Some sunny spells across much of England to start the day on Sunday. For Wales, a little bit of a cloudier start, some outbreaks of patchy rain, and for Northern Ireland too, quite a bit of cloud around to start the day on Sunday. Northern parts of England into eastern parts of Scotland, though, a bright but chilly start to the day. Western Scotland continuing to see those wintry showers pushing in, and the northeast of Scotland as well, seeing those showers continuing through much of Sunday morning. Those showers again likely to turn to sleet and snow, particularly across any high ground of Scotland as we go through Sunday afternoon. Those cloudy conditions across Northern Ireland, and that area of rain continues to push its way eastwards into parts of Wales, the Midlands, into northern parts of England through Sunday afternoon. The south still holding on to some slightly milder air, so feeling pleasant in any sunshine here, but further north with those brisk northerly winds definitely feeling cold. That does mean a cold start to the day on Monday, those wintry showers continuing to pack in across northern parts of Scotland. But for Northern Ireland, Wales, into northern parts of England, we see this area of rain pushing in, and where that meets that colder air, they're likely to see some sleet and snow over the hills. Staying cold as we head in towards the middle part of next week, but there should be some sunshine around, but those temperatures feeling chilly for the time of year.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Very quickly, we have some comments coming through on My View. This is from Fred Burton, and he is saying Josh hasn't read out any comments. So, we're going to... Yeah, that was it, yeah. But let's quickly do the newspapers again. We're going to do the Mail on Sunday. Call that net zero Sakir. Observers, fears grow over children at risk placed in illegal care homes. Sunday Express, OAPs will die as big freeze hits. The Sunday Times, Labour plans Maloney-style migrant deals. Sunday Mirror, 1 billion boost for buses. Daily Star Sunday, I'm afraid you have a serious case of bog bum Mr Jones. So, Lewis, we're going to get straight into it with the Sunday Telegraph. And actually, no, that's Nick. Strange case of police actually protecting free speech.
Yeah, this is Police Protect Durham University students holding Gaza debate. So it was at Durham University, they were going to have a debate, and it was about, obviously, the actual premise was this House believes Palestinian leadership is the biggest barrier to peace.
Correct.
They eventually had it, and those in favour won 92 to 59, but they had to move to a separate location to even have it because all these people, as we see so often now, were vigorously and aggressively protesting it. And shouting shame and shouting, Durham Union, you can't hide, we charge you with genocide, which I guess is convenient because it rhymes, which is always good for these people because they're quite simple. So I say you don't have to be a fan of Israel. You can easily make the case. Lots of people believe Israel is not doing the right thing. Why not make the case and win the debate rather than chanting outside like idiots?
Well, this is it. The irony here, of course, Lewis, is that the people who should have been in there listening to these arguments, making the arguments, were outside. Trying to stop
I think they said it was a success because there were people. Not everybody went in there because most of Britain hates it. They don't hate the. I don't know. I'm not going to say they hate.
Let's move on. Is this a good thing for free speech?
On.
Well, let's move on from what you were saying.
This is a news story.
Yeah.
It's not even a non-news story because the police did their job, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a positive sign, isn't it, Nick? I mean, it's ridiculous that it is a news story that the police had to come out to protect these people, had to walk through a tunnel, or it's crazy the security concerns here.
Yeah, maybe it's positive. I mean, it's maybe this is one issue where now there's some awareness that there's been so many of these street protests that maybe the police have wised up a little bit to seeing both sides of this debate. Maybe. Right.
But remember, the police in this country are a working class group, and they've, I guess, consistently Labour voters. Is that true? I don't know, really.
Going a very different angle here. Mail on Sunday now, Lewis, and why haven't the police investigated that he told me he was a she?
Oh, which is this? What story? We've jumped ahead. It's
to the next story.
The next story.
It's chronological. That was 10. This is 11.
Oh, this is...
See how numbers work.
Sorry, this is 11.
The prices of the paper.
This is 11.
Their numbers.
This is the Daily Mail. Somebody at the Daily Mail got a Freedom of Information request and trying to find out how many of these kind of like crazy situations are hate
NCHIs, non-crime hate incidents, which is obviously in the news with the Alison Pearson.
Lewis struggles with numbers and words. Just so you know.
Because this is ridiculous.
So it makes him an ideal panellist.
Yeah.
What this country needs, it needs the First Amendment. But it needs an amendment to the Constitution, but there is no Constitution, so this country is way behind. It needs a Constitution, and then it needs an amendment to it anyway. Anyway.
Behind? It's much older than the US. You copied us.
Yes, because you've done nothing over the past 1,000 years. You need a country to say, listen. Anyway, so these are all the complaints that were made in the story in the first story that we did, where with the Alison, what's her name?
Pearson.
Alison Pearson, or the Julie Bindel story. Is how many of those have happened?
This is a fun one.
How is this a fun one?
Because it's a couple having hanky-panky in the toilets in a club. One of them was trans. That's all good. And then
it's dark, things happen.
We've all been there. Who hasn't been to Thailand?
Who hasn't been kicked out of a pub for having sex in the bathroom?
Well, exactly. So the point is, they got reported for a non-hate crime incident for kicking this person out. I don't know if it's illegal to do what they did in the toilet, but the idea that that's a non-crime hate incident is ridiculous.
If you own a pub, you should be allowed to kick people out for whatever reason. I don't like the way you look. Get out of my pub. I'm 86'em, as we used to call it in New York.
EastEnders style.
Yeah, my pub. Yes.
But isn't the wider thing these non-crime hate incidents? And two things on this. There's someone here who's accused of a hate crime for saying it's a religious sin to be gay. So what you have is you have a multicultural, multi-faith society. So there you have many points of conflict. And if those are going to be called hate, and if those are going to be crimes, you can have an endless supply of crimes. The bigger question to me is, since we're talking so much about these NCHIs, why do we see them? To me, it's the ultimate route is you have a mass democracy, which depends on controlling people's minds at all times, because you have to vote for them. You have social media, so at all points you have to monitor people that they're thinking the right thing. Thus, you have this endless proliferation of these non-crime hate incidents.
Right.
Isn't it a desperate attempt by the state to control everyone in the age of social media?
And it's uncontrollable, because if you say diversity is our strength, one man's diversity is another man's hate crime. So automatically, this guy who's a whatever he said that homosexuality is a sin. he doesn't think he's making it. He's diverse in his own way, but he's been told that he's not allowed to be diverse. That's why the government should get out of people's business in this country.
There we go. Right, more mail, Nick. And is this one divorce the COE won't grant?
So the Church of England is irrelevant to our lives. Say Britain's as half. Say it should be disestablished, so it's not linked to the state. So, of course, in this country, we still have a monarch who is the head of the church automatically, but people are saying they don't want this anymore. 39% had an unfavourable opinion of the state church, just 32% had a favourable view. So this is where we are. And, of course, even though I would say we had a much better country when the Church of England was dominant, but now it isn't. And the reality is the monarch is a kind of an anachronism as the head of the Church of England, because no one cares about that anymore. And I would also add, although there are great people in the Church of England trying to keep it going, when you have people like Welby, who are clearly just managers of a woke institution rather than a Christian leader, and we saw that recently with his appalling behaviour. So, of course it's going to fade, and that's what's happened. The church has faded into nothingness and now it's barely standing.
I mean, what do you think, Lewis? Do you think they should receive state funding?
I think the whole thing should... I think they should not receive state funding. I think the whole state should stop giving out funding. I think the whole state should stop collecting money to give out money. I think there's the whole Church of England schools. They shouldn't be affiliated.
That's rubbish. I went to one. Don't you admit, though, that not that you were necessarily here, this country was... Maybe you were here. This country was better when it was just a Christian country.
I'm in favour of...
It's never been just a Christian country.
When it was largely a Christian country, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying to get
Lewis to
admit it was better.
It was also better when the pubs closed at 11 o'clock. You don't bring that back.
What's going to usurp this is my worry. If you don't have the Church of England, are you going to have other religions that perhaps won't be ideal for most of the panellists here?
I don't know if I agree with that at all. I think the country's developed in many ways, many good ways.
You want a secular country like France?
No, I didn't say that. But the point is to just say that everything was better 50 years ago and it was because of the C of E. I don't...
Well, it wasn't because of it, but it was part of it.
And also the fact that we've always... there have been other religions. I can think of one. It's called Judaism.
Well, there's just percentage-wise, that's never going to happen. Is it? You're going to get. I don't know. Let's see what kind of country you're going to get with the decline of Church of England.
And why
I don't think it's going to be better. It's going to be worse.
Why should the control go to the whatever?
I think
British
it's more
government?
about this story isn't necessarily about the decline of Church of England as much about the influence on the state. With less decline.
It's the same thing. When it wants to, now the religion lacks so much power. People are saying, well, why should the head of state be affiliated with the Church of England? But that's only happening because the church is so weak in the country now.
Yeah, but do you think that, as you were talking about Welby, that the Church of England, unfortunately, is partly responsible for that?
Well, yes, absolutely. By becoming just another woke institution, they absolutely have had it coming. There's no doubt.
Right, which they believe in the government controlling everything. But the truth is that King Charles... I think Britain is a secondary concern to him. That's why he went over to the COP thing, because he's Mr. Team World. He doesn't care about Britain.
I agree with that. Lewis, the Sunday Telegraph has an article, but I didn't get past the photos.
Yes, Sydney Sweeney, she is actually quite attractive. I don't find her that attractive, but she's pretty attractive.
Give us the exact percentage of attractive you find Sydney Sweeney.
I think
she's watching right now, and she wants to know what her chance is.
A 6 for Lewis.
I don't know, she seems a bit... I don't want to mention the F word, but she seems a bit...
What's the F word? Whichever one it is.
No, she doesn't seem that fit to me. She's a big girl.
She's not a big girl.
I can't tell. Anyway, she's an actress. And
look at my screensavers and tell me.
For once, I genuinely don't know what Lewis means, but I'm sure it's terrible.
It is terrible. You're not allowed to say it. The truth is, she's great. She's great, but she's saying that female empowerment in Hollywood is fake. That's the title of the Daily Telegraph.
Well, she's really talking about women sort of tearing down women, which is a universal truth.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
She was... There's this woman here, Carol Baum, saying she's not a good actor, which I deny. She was great in The White Lotus. She's great in all those slow-motion videos on Twitter. And the other thing I'd say, Sydney Sweeney just sort of enjoys it. She's sort of like, yeah, everyone loves me, I'm cool. She doesn't go for this kind of feminist kind of woke thing. And her family, she got in trouble at one point because her family were all Trump voters. Yeah. And I think Sydney Sweeney is part of the larger cultural shift towards kind of MAGA, hot girl, not woke feminist. Is that controversial?
No, it isn't. Telegraph again. Nick, how do you pronounce this? Is it moron?
So it's gender-neutral title, MUX. I'm going with MUX.
MUX.
Soars in popularity on driving licences. So there are more than 7,000 drivers who asked for MUX. Is it MUX? To be used on their licence.
I'd prefer more on
Mix.
Mix.
MX. Mix.
Is it Miss?
Mr. and Mix.
I don't know what it is.
Ms.
It's a noise. It doesn't make sense. It's like one of Elon Musk's
It's the
kids.
9th most popular title now on driver's licence.
It's incredible.
Insane.
It's got so many people want this name now, and it just shows. But what I want to know, I want to see the link between these MUXs and their crashes and their driving statistics, because that's what I care about. Can they drive?
Yeah.
I suspect they can't. They're so confused about who they are.
Maybe that should be a test to see whether they're female or male.
I would say
I didn't want
a
to
bigger
say.
part of the story is
that what you were thinking?
Well, Ms. has gone up from 159,000 to 1.6 million in a year. That's crazy. I thought Ms. was on the way out.
I thought
Ms.
so
has come
too.
back in
Ms
fashion.
was the MUX of its day, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Ms.
You don't
is,
be
Ms. is
or
making a
Mrs.
comeback.
So you're Ms.
Yeah.
Well,
Ms
no-
and MUX. We've just imported loads of extra people we have.
I'm going to get
No,
a driver's
Ms.
license.
actually is brilliant. I think that's been around for like 50 years or something.
Oh, yeah, Ms.
Right, still to come, we'll be looking at the latest fashion in Christmas trees, find out what Lewis's therapist is really thinking and what body part should you freeze. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This week is Chocolate Week, the ultimate celebration of everything rich, sweet and indulgent.
Yes, and we now have the best person in the studio with us to satisfy all of your chocolate cravings. We're joined now by master chocolatier Ollie the Choc. Ollie, really good to see you this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And you brought some of your chocolate in with you.
I did. I brought some tasting samples. You're very welcome to help yourself.
So what have you got here? Tell us.
So this is my signature chocolate. I call it the Holy Grail. It's got sea salt flakes, crushed Oreo, caramel fudge pieces, very Moorish.
I love a caramel and salt combo, just, I feel like you see it everywhere now. Look,
You won't be disappointed.
Look, I want everyone to see a close-up of this one. Can we get a shot on this one? So this is Oreo, there we are, caramel and salt. Do you want to try some?
You go first.
Help yourselves. And then this bar of chocolate is a little bit of a wild card. That's a mystery flavour. So
OK, I love a mystery.
I'm not going to tell you what that is.
Hold on this one. This one's amazing.
Are you?
Oreo, caramel.
That's my biggest seller.
I'll keep my palate clean for this. So this is a mystery flavour.
You've got to guess what that is.
Is that a nut in there, I see? Right, here we go. Ready?
I'm not saying anything.
Talk us through.
Very crunchy.
For me, I'm all about textures in chocolate.
Me too.
It has got a good crunch to it, hasn't it? It's not the kind of flavour that you would expect.
Oh, I can't get it.
Is it sweet? Is it salty?
No, it's salty, yeah.
It's
OK,
salty.
hang on, bit more.
OK.
Bit more.
I mean, just keep going.
Crisps? Wait,
It is crispy, it's crunchy. Could it be crisps?
I think it could be crisps. Yeah, it's crisps.
So what flavour?
Salt and vinegar. Cheese and onion.
Yes,
Salt and
nailed it. You know.
Oh, you're much better than me.
Love that.
Do you know what? I think I've got a bit of a cold, so my taste buds are
Oh,
off.
you're going to blame that, are you?
That's my excuse. That's delicious.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Nightmare commute? Kick it up a gear with GB News Radio. You can listen online and on DAB+ and on the GB News app. We're also on TuneIn and the Radio Player apps. From the school run to rush hour, get revved up with GB News Radio. We are the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Very quickly on My Say, My View, we have someone, I can't really read it out, but, sorry, your say, he's saying... Anyway, he basically says, it's a very disparaging comment about me. But there is someone who...
If it's about me, don't read it.
Nice about me. They both had the same number of upticks and downs, so it's a neutral.
Read them both.
In the middle. I can't. It's honestly, it's too painful for me. But I just want to say thank you, Mark and Ian. Right.
And you can Facebook me at Lewis Schaefer, at Lewis Schaefer.
Say what you think of Lewis.
Yeah,
he likes it. He likes all attention.
I'm not like Josh living in a fantasy world, like everybody loves me. You know, I know people don't like me.
Right, let's start with Mail on Sunday and the Grinch that stole the Christmas trees.
Where is this?
Let me find it for you, Lewis.
You've literally been doing this format for 3 years, Lewis.
No, this is a mess here.
Yeah, because you made it a mess.
Let me have it.
It's 15, story 15,
so it's
the
joyless
trees.
Christmas trees, Lewis, are all the rage this year.
They're just saying people like plain Christmas trees. There, I got it. Joyless, I got it over
You got
there.
it.
Joyless Christmas trees are all the rage this year, featuring metal bricks.
Seamless.
This is
such a professional.
You styled that out so well.
Josh, this show is so unimportant.
This is a big story. The GB News, we just got our Christmas tree has gone up. This is big stuff here.
It's what they're saying. So the other article said, we don't like the Church of England. And this is saying, we don't like Church of England manifest and actual physical stuff. We want a plain Christmas tree. That has nothing to do with
metal tree. They want a metal tree.
They want a metal tree.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Is this an advert for IKEA, though?
It's awful, this, because it's just...
No, because it mentions a lot of
It's the decline of everything. This guy was inspired by a common knob rack. I mean, of course he was. He came up with this based on a common knob rack. This is for people who want to eat the bugs.
That's my nickname.
This is about people saving space, having no space, and they find... Listen to this, they find Christmas boring.
That's what Ian wrote about me on your view.
They want their Christmas tree to reflect their passions. How narcissistic is that? The ancient tradition of Christmas. Yeah, why has it not got skateboards in it? Because it's Christmas, you idiot. They want to eat the bugs, live in the pod, and they want their black metal cone tree.
This is going to be added, because you got the bugs, you got the pod, and now you're going to add the black cone Christmas tree
but you're saying,
to your list.
You're saying it reflects
common knob rack. That's what I say to you.
It does. I don't know what the word knob is. What is knob?
It's a door handle.
Yeah, you're
a door handle. Okay.
Yeah.
Or something you can put clothes on and
things. Can I just stop interrupting?
The rack of knobs.
How dare you? You asked me what it meant.
Yeah.
Is that it represents their passion? It doesn't. These are most boring Christmas trees. A passion would be like if you really love Jesus and have a great big cross on.
They're boring. They're common.
Right. Right, Nick. The Sunday Times has a story to make me want to get a second therapist to discuss the first.
Yes, well, I'm getting on to discuss Lewis exclusively. So it's what your therapist is really thinking but can't tell you. And it's a series of just fairly obvious statements that therapists might think. Like one of them is you're not in love with your girlfriend, you're just settling. Although that presupposes a kind of hippie idea that true love is good and settling is bad, whereas, of course, settling is how we form societies. Anyway, or they say your spouse is a narcissist, and that's one they shouldn't say, but I think they should say that. And there was another one here. This is really interesting. They say that, like, after a marital row, there was a guy that went out and had sex with sex workers, and they were like, well, I wouldn't say that because it'd stop attending. Yeah, but you morally should say that just because you're going to lose money.
It's all about not being judgmental. Lewis, have you ever been in therapy?
I have been to therapy, and I believe... I used
your
to
money back?
And I used to believe in therapy, and my girlfriend...
I think I gave up. He quit.
My present girlfriend...
6 weeks in.
Me,
yeah.
She's training to be a therapist.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
And I don't say what I'm thinking.
I can see her being a good therapist. Just sort yourself out!
Yeah, that's what you need as a therapist. I went to therapy when I was going through my divorce the first time, what they call marriage counselling. And it never works because they want to keep you going.
Did you relate to any of this marriage counselling stuff?
Yeah.
Because
the one where said you
interesting.
two should split up, that's something they never say. A guy did say that to him.
Yeah. Of course they shouldn't say that because it's not his job in the Freudian way. It's just his job is to get you to talk about things.
Do you know what it is, Lewis? It's the therapeutic state. It's the death of love. It goes back to Thomas Saz. He came up with the everyone thinks there's something wrong with him. The whole thing's a scam. I'm saying it's a scam. It's the kind of thing you would say, but I'm saying it.
Well, my wife's a therapist.
It's a scam.
It's a scam.
and I said Freud is dead.
Right, Lewis, what's lost in translation in the Sunday Express?
Chaos, of course, in chaos as translators take control of the proceedings. This is like a non-story. Basically, it's saying that...
But it's not an important show.
The bar... It isn't. This show,
and a Mike Tyson nihilist says...
This show is not important.
This show is very important.
I mean,
many people love it.
Our careers, they love me.
Ian doesn't love it when I'm on.
Yeah, he doesn't love it.
That's fine.
Does anybody like you, Josh? They can tell
Ian's
you
a knob rat.
And the same thing with this guy over here. He's like, he's
Do you want to say the story? This is
people
all
love me.
about
It's you they
our
dislike.
law system.
This is they go to court. You need a translator because we've got a ton of foreigners that don't speak English.
Yeah, you.
And yeah, like me.
Moida.
And Moida. I've been to speech therapy. That I believe in.
Go back.
And so the bar counselor says we need better translators.
He just turned it to Bill Cosby.
Get one of these
The good years.
come in for you. What do you think about this?
I think the same thing I always say: decline of the country, chaos, mess,
Too many
madness.
foreigners, too much crime.
That's him saying that.
If you have a problem with translators, it means you've got too many foreigners in the country committing too much crime.
Well, not too many. I mean,
it does seem
not too many.
You could argue
might
that.
have some in.
No, if you had some...
It's absurd for a translator to start arguing and cross-examining the witness. That is hilarious. That's comedy, and that's our country now.
But it is funny when people are changing answers. That's my favourite part.
That's like something... What's that movie with the short guy?
I don't know. The show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Sunday's front pages. The Mail on Sunday. Call that net zero, Sakir. Observer. Fears grow over children at risk placed in illegal care homes. The Sunday Express. OEPs will die as big freeze hits. The Sunday Times. Labour plans Maloney-style migrant deals. The Sunday Mirror. $1 billion boost for buses. Nice bit of alliteration there. And the Daily Star Sunday. I'm afraid you have a serious case of bog bum Mr. Jones. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you very much to my guests Lewis and Nick. I'll be back tomorrow night at 11 p.m. with Paul Cox and Kerry Marks. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, stay tuned for breakfast.
You can't expect people to love you.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. So the north-south split across the UK continues with some cloudier skies and some patchy rain in the south, but some colder and wintry weather further north. We do have a weather front situated across the southern half of the UK, continues to sink its way southwards through the rest of the day today, but those northerly winds bring us some colder conditions across parts of Scotland. We'll continue to see showers across the north and the west, and these likely to turn to snow and sleet over any high ground. Further south, though, that weather front continues to push its way southwards, leaving some clear skies to start the morning on Sunday across much of England and Wales, and quite widely a chilly start to the day on Sunday, temperatures widely in the low single figures, and some frost likely across parts of Scotland and northern England to start the day. Further south, though, generally quite a dry and bright start to the day once that weather front clears its way southwards. Some sunny spells across much of England to start the day on Sunday. For Wales, a little bit of a cloudier start, some outbreaks of patchy rain, and for Northern Ireland too, quite a bit of cloud around to start the day on Sunday. Northern parts of England into eastern parts of Scotland, though, a bright but chilly start to the day. Western Scotland continuing to see those wintry showers pushing in, and the northeast of Scotland as well, seeing those showers continuing through much of Sunday morning. Those showers again likely to turn to sleet and snow, particularly across any high ground of Scotland as we go through a Sunday afternoon. Those cloudy conditions across Northern Ireland, and that area of rain continues to push its way eastwards into parts of Wales, the Midlands, into northern parts of England through Sunday afternoon. The south still holding on to some slightly milder air, so feeling pleasant in any sunshine here, but further north with those brisk northerly winds definitely feeling cold. That does mean a cold start to the day on Monday, those wintry showers continuing to pack in across northern parts of Scotland. But for Northern Ireland, Wales into northern parts of England, we see this area of rain pushing in, and where that meets that colder air, they're likely to see some sleet and snow over the hills. Staying cold as we head in towards the middle part of next week, but there should be some sunshine around, but those temperatures feeling chilly for the time of year.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
This is the final week to grab your chance to win Christmas on Us this year. There's £20,025 in tax-free cash. There's £5,000 to spend on gifts for all the family. There's £500 to spend in your favourite supermarket. And a festively themed GB News goodie bag. We'll get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2, or post your name and number to GB09 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 22nd of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon